Good morning, everyone. I'm Sara Del Aniwego from BFM2C. Today, I'm going to discuss the definition of gender. What is gender? Refers to the socially constructed roles, behaviors, expressions, and identities of girls, women, boys, men, and gender diverse people. It influences how people perceive themselves and each other, how they act and interact, and the distribution of power and resources in the society. Gender identity is not confined to a binary, nor is it static. It exists along a continuum and can change over time. There is considerable diversity in how individuals and groups understand, experience, and express gender through the roles they take on, the expectation placed on them, relations with others, and the complex ways that gender is institutionalized in society. And that is the definition of gender. But do you know the difference between gender and sex? Have you ever considered the difference of them? So I'll discuss a little bit more knowledge about sex and gender. So today, I'm going to discuss what is the difference between gender and sex. So I said earlier the meaning of gender. So now I'll discuss the definition of sex. What is sex? Refers to a set of biological attributes in humans and animals. It is primarily associated with physical and psychological features including chromosomes, gene expression, hormone levels and function, and reproductive sexual anatomy. Sex is usually categorized as female or male, but there is variation in the biological attributes that comprise sex and how those attributes are expressed. So, for me, the gender is where an individual may see themselves as woman and man. So, or where people identify as somewhere on a spectrum between man and woman. So, then sex is produced by their chromosomes, hormones, and their interactions. And I know all of you knowing about sex in general. But in the specific, the sex in this topic is where something that is assigned at birth. So that is the difference between sex and gender. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary Dionisio from BAFM 2C.
Hi everyone, my name is Perlinjoy Manuela Menosa from BAFM2C, and we are going to report about the gender role.
Gender role. A gender role, also known as a sex role, is a social role encompassing a range of behaviors and attitudes that are generally considered acceptable, appreciated, or desirable for a person based on that person's biological or perceived sex.
And also, gender roles in the society means how we expect to act, speak, dress, groom, and conduct ourselves based upon our assigned sex.
And it is usually centered on conceptions of masculinity and femininity, although there are exceptions and variation.
Take for example, girls and women are generally expected to dress in a typically feminine ways and be polite, accommodating, and nurturing.
And men are generally expected to be strong, aggressive, and bold. The term gender role was first used by John Money in 1954 during the course of his study of intersex individuals to describe the manners in which these individuals expressed that they were male or female even though no clear biological assignment existed.
Every society, ethnic group, and culture has gender role expectation, but they can be very different from group to group.
For example, pink used to be considered a masculine color in the US, while blue was considered feminine.
Good day everyone, I am Elmer Christian Lahom of BAF M2C and I am here to give you some examples of gender stereotypes. So you may clarify that gender stereotype is an oversimplified and unfair belief about men and women. So we have 4 examples here.
First is, women can play basketball. Second, women are not as strong as men. Third, men are expected to be more aggressive. And last, men are not responsible for taking care of their children.
We also have 4 basic kinds of gender stereotypes, and these are
Personality traits, domestic behavior, occupation, and physical appearance.
personality traits are the thoughts, feelings, behaviors of a man and a woman. So for example, women are more emotional than men, or men are more aggressive than women. Domestic behavior or their role in the house. For example, in women, we expect that women are the one who cook, clean the house, or taking care of the children, while in men, we expect that men are the one who taking care of the finance and do home repairs. Occupations or the job. So for example, we assume that teachers and nurses are women, while pilots, seamen, engineers, or doctors, we assume that they are men. Men and women has a lot of differences in terms of their physical appearance, and I'll give you some examples.
Hello everyone, my name is Ralph Maglente from BAFM2C and I am here today to report about the gender stereotype. But first, we have to define what is gender and what is stereotype. Gender is the classification by which word as feminine and masculine. Stereotype is a belief about social group in terms of the traits or characteristics that they are believed to share. In addition to that, stereotype is also a cognitive framework that influences the processing of social information. And now, let's proceed to gender stereotype. What is gender stereotype? Gender stereotype is a belief about the personal attributes of female and male. Personal attributes basically means traits that make up your personality, which define who you are as a person. In short, it is all about your attitudes, your feelings, and your behaviors. They are all important because they are what makes you who you are as a person. In fact, what other people find in you that they may like or dislike. And now, let's move to types of gender stereotype. Types of gender stereotype. Female stereotype. This stereotype begins since a baby. If the baby is a girl, their tendency are more to girlish things like wear pink clothes, toys like a Barbie doll. Male stereotype. From the beginning, since they were small boys, taught to be tough, to be protective, and to defend themselves. Their outfits usually blue colors which symbolic to a man. Mostly boys were aggressive in their playing than girls. And that's the end of my presentation. I hope some of you will gain information about my discussion. And again, thank you for listening and God bless.
Good morning everyone, this is John Paul Nelson Lumibaw from BAFM2C. Today, I will discuss what is gender identity. Gender identity is one's innermost concept of self as a male, female, a blend of both, or neither. It is how individuals perceive themselves and what they call themselves. The gender identity of people can be the same or different from their sex assigned at birth. It only means that gender identity is how you see, viewed yourself in terms of gender. What you feel inside and how you express your feelings is a gender identity. The clothing, appearances, and behaviors can all be ways to express your gender identity. Realizing that your gender identity doesn't fit the roles, expectations, and stereotypes people have of your assigned sex and gender can be confusing and upsetting. As a result of that, you may feel pressured or scared about how to express your gender identity. Once the people doesn't feel free to express their gender identity, it can increase the risk of mental and physical health problems. On the other side, feeling able to freely express your gender identity to those people who accepts you for who you are can feel validating and liberating. That's all. Thank you.
Some examples of gender identity are masculine, feminine, and androgynous. Also, the LGBT group to express themselves to the community. It includes physical expressions such as personal clothing, makeup, hairstyle, and also social expressions such as name and pronoun choice.